Man, I feel like this ending does not match the intensity or significance of what's happening in this arc now. We crossed the line last episode. And maybe I'm just late to catch up, because it's not like there weren't significant and really terrible things, but this is so close and so terrible. It's sort of hard to believe still. It's tough to watch the opening now. Where did it all go wrong? Yeah, it like didn't come from nowhere, you know? She's just like that. Well, that's interesting just by implication, that like he would push back. That doesn't sound like an allegiance at all. That doesn't sound like a plan they hatched together, you know? It sounds like he's just a little bit henpecked. Not a very flattering, like, Tanuki, what was it? Look for him. He's been contrasted against Lakan's brilliance, which is sort of a high honor in the show, but also he can't win this strategic battle against his pushy wife, his biggest adversary to date. Gotta handle your affairs at home first. Though, I mean, I guess there's something real about that too. Can't say like that doesn't exist in life. Oh, that's a terrible place to be. Oh, it's her also. That story also her. This is awful. Suddenly Hunter x Hunter comes to mind. Speaking of real, the waiting forever, being under someone's thumb forever in the hopes that they'll someday forgive you is painfully real. This is one of the reasons why I think it's important to allow for change and to allow for growth and atonement. I mean, let's assume a mistake was even made in the first place. Sometimes it's just gaslighting, right? If there's even an ounce of opportunism in the other person, there's going to be some element, at least in proportion to the degree that that person is opportunistic, that seeks to use that mistake as leverage. In a sick way for that person, the trespass against them actually feels exciting. It's thrilling because you realize you have an angle of attack. You just won some ground. And so the transgressor, feeling terrible, rolls over and then just submits. And if that dynamic gets locked in, like if it's seen as a permanent stain, something that requires another person's approval to internally process, you're sort of rolling the dice on how mature and charitable the other person is. This is obvious in relationships, but I also feel like I see this a lot in online discourse where apologies are demanded and like it's case by case, but while there is a level to how appropriate that is, there also is almost always an element of no one's actually hurt by it. Really what they're trying to do is like use this as an opportunity to bring you under their heel or to feel powerful, to discredit you. There's a lot of really weird, nefarious things underneath this. And like, it's terrifying to me to think about being beholden to someone as tyrannical as Shenmei, who's never going to give that up. She doesn't care. Likely she was genuinely hurt, but at this point, it's something else. That plays to sort of what she's saying, I think, right? And their difference in perspective. Father said she wasn't always like this, but I, on the other hand, think she was born like this. It's like, yeah, you played right into her hands. Though, hearing what she said about the insect thing, it might be possible that in some twisted way, this is for Loulan or Shisui or whatever. This is one of those situations where the hierarchy of values becomes clear. Like doing the right thing, growth as a human being, trying to align with an ideal is the point, not necessarily the opinions or approval of other people. You actually don't need people's forgiveness or approval or consent for you to get what you need out of your own wrongdoings, I think. Though that might include an apology for you, you know, for you feeling like it's the right thing to do. But I don't know, but it's so terrible what you've done. Right. Yeah, I understand the fear of becoming a mother, but that's not the way, though. Those two things are not the same. Separating here, it's super sympathetic what she's lived through. What she just said is asinine. What she's done is terrible. Because the answer to not becoming her mother isn't killing children. Much better would be, you're a great mother. We're conflating mother and Shenmei here. Those are not the same things. You don't want to be Shenmei. Doesn't seem like it. He needs to scheme his way out of this marriage. Weird question. Oh yeah, she did say that. Oh, maybe we can revive them. We can revive them. We can revive them? Right, yeah. No, she plans to end everything here. Oh, this is one thing you should say it out loud. You should say this out loud. That's not true. You need to say it. Yeah. So I guess by doing all this, she is trying to end this whole thing here and clear the name of however many people she can clear the name of by keeping it isolated to herself and her mother and like whoever else is implicit in that. This is really interesting, not least of all for Mamo. Like, of course, this whole show, there's been this struggle between Mamo's survival and also her heart and instincts and conscience. And her heart seems to always win in the heat of the moment. And this, I guess, is her observing that in Shisui, who's doing it at much greater scale, I guess, or to its logical conclusion. Like, she is actually intentionally giving her life. That's always sort of the fear with Mama, like, how far can I go with this? I really shouldn't do this. And maybe a question of like, where's the line for me? It's a lot to ask. Part of her probably is tempted. Her compulsion. Meddling is the essence of a hero. I don't know what you want me to do with that. That's Jinshi's pin, right? You're not claiming me? Her having Jinshi's pin, I can imagine, coming in handy. Loulan, we barely knew you, but also, like, we knew you really well. Like a different side of you. Take care of the rest. What? I guess tell it how it happened. You're the witness. You can straighten this out. The kids didn't need to... Wait. The kids can be healed, right? I don't know. I'm so conflicted. I want to believe, but also I'm afraid to believe. Are they going to make it through the winter or not? That was a hint, right? It's the revival thing. We act like they're dead and then revive them later. That's so important. Like, I need that. We're humanizing Loulan Shisui. Episode 46, Royal Guard. Damn, look at Jinshi. He's really worked up. How did you measure me? Thanks. What? Weird. Are you saying you like me? I feel really uncomfortable suddenly. I guess this is before she blew up that room. Which was, I guess we're trying to help them win. Help Jinshi's team win. Cannons, right. Head on charge seems foolish. Attack from the mountains? Small team. Oh, well, I have good news for you. I didn't recognize Gaoshun in his armor. He looks awesome. Is that a bad look? Oh, their pride is their weakness. Yeah, just win it with as few casualties as possible. This is sort of compromising for her, yeah, we don't really know. I mean, we know, but Jinshi has no idea. His imagination running in a billion different directions at once, not to mention the image factor, the politics. You know, not a great look that your lady under your care, like, was living with the traitors for however long it's been, weeks, months. Someone could definitely make a case for that. What does the Emperor think about this, all the Loulan stuff? Who are you? I don't know what fire lancers are, but that sounds awesome. Daddy's coming. Wild. Oh, this is Shiso? This is terrible, man. You need to get... Yeah, okay. Yeah, it makes her happy. Gives her some sick satisfaction. Having people under her thumb. You say that, but... Or not. Maybe this could be it. Maybe our horrible, horrible nightmare could come to an end. 2 decades, my god. It's the previous emperor. Looks like there was some repentance in the later years, some guilt. I want her back. Oh, that's pretty sad. And blamed me for all this. Even though he rescued her, well, I got the short end of the stick twice. He lost and he lost too. Also, the audacity of the Emperor. Please, Shiso, I'll give you whatever you want. I love you, Shiso. And he's like, maybe I can have my wife back. The one that you ripped away from me. And the Emperor's like, oh, her? Yeah, sure, whatever. I never even needed her in the first place. I just figured I'd have her. You should have said so earlier. Jeez, power's scary, man. You usually don't come in here. That was the sounds of your hopes and dreams exploding. Oh, we're all here.
何ですかローラン。そのはしたない格好を。
She doesn't realize it's all over. It all is meaningless now.
あなた方にだけは
Yeah, it's truly shameful. Oh my god, okay.
私の娘だろう。
It's something has been brewing.
いつも鮮明に従順で命令される
This has
まま
been
に聞かされる
festering
人形
her
のような子だと思っていた。
all this time.
姉様ごめん遅く
Is she in the closet?
こんな折感を日常
You haven't been
的
paying
に
attention. I mean, you've been away.
私が宮中に出資し
But
て
yeah,
い
you
る
haven't been paying
間に
attention.
なんと至らない父親か。
This did not go well. This is not great.
責任を取ってください。
ローラ。
お父様は狐の里の狸親父です。最後まで化かしていきましょう。
Tanuki, I'm so confused. Tanuki, master of the foxes. He honestly doesn't seem that, like, I don't know. He's not Lakan, right? He's lost. He's overwhelmed. I feel for the guy, but I think this is one of the ways where there's sort of a floor on sympathy or leniency where that hits, like, real terrible consequences as a result of incompetence. He might have been a really nice guy at one point. This is happening. A lot of this is happening under his watch, or what should be his watch, and you can just palpably feel the avoidance. Like, he's just afraid of handling it, so you let it slip. I mean, this is how it goes, right? Like, this is a much higher stakes than is normal, but in many cases, these sort of insurmountable problems, they don't start off as insurmountable problems. They start off as like a tiny neglect or one toe over the line, one excuse, one moment of avoidance. Like, I'd rather just not deal with this. In that light, I think taking responsibility is the thematically right thing to say. Oh, those are the fire lances. Awesome. We get to see some of that genius tacticianing at work. Did they just cause a snow slide? What do you call that? Avalanche.
火薬もありません。燃やしましたから。勝てぬ相手
That was just a lucky accident for them.
お父様、お母様は私が見
You're no match for Lakan, and you never were.
そうだな。
This poor man, like,
私の責任だな。
I mean, yeah, it is. Oh my god. Wow, scary. And Jinshi leading the charge. Respect. This is crazy. Jinshi leading an actual charge. We're getting a war or a battle. I don't think this is much of a war anymore. It sort of feels over already. Wow, this is... Man, I don't know. I don't know. I never thought I'd see the day. Beautiful still shots. There we go. Yeah, weird. Like, it would be weird to see Jinshi just stab a dude, you know? But I don't know if you can have your cake and eat it here. This is a battle in a mini war. That's funny. I was thinking like war arc, but no, it was war scene. It's over before it began. Lakan.
しかし宮廷でも狸親父と言われた師匠がこんな場所に立てこもるなんて
What wild? I don't know. I'm not seeing it. We haven't really seen it, any of it.
嬢
I'll
ちゃ
take
ん
your
の
word for
上
it.
官の天女と呼ばれた宦官が
The little lady's
ま
boss.
さか金軍の大将として出てくるとは
Honestly, it's
みんな
impressive.
驚いたよね
Yeah, it's legit. Like, he
皇
was
族が率い
in
る
there.
金軍が取る策に
Why? It was amazing. It was such a dominating victory, too. Like, they didn't stand a chance.
今日をつく策とのそしりは私が受ける
I'll take your word on this one, too. What I saw was like a genius move combined with a frontal assault. Also, they made their presence very clear. What's the alternative? Is honor following like the 90s action movie rule of you attack head on one by one? That's not fair. You cheated. You cheated. I'm telling. The palace customs and rules are exhausting.
早く火を消さないと奥様に。
They're more afraid of Shenmei than they are of the attacking army.
中にいる人間もすぐさま外に出てきましょう分かっているだが逃げられない
He wants to save
か
Mao
もしれないそれなら我々で探しますので
But I want to be the one to save her.
新たな政敵が生まれますねああそうだ
Yeah, Lakan is a very dangerous enemy. Remember what he did with that avalanche? That was scary. I'm over here! And she gets to witness this! Oh my god, this is Jinshi's dream. This is everything he ever wanted. Okay, now it's time to save them. They're gonna make it past winter.
逃げりゃいいのに。バカだよな。Shisuiのこと言えたもんじゃない。
Yeah, it's just very directly a parallel for Mao Mao.
せめて話の通じるやつであってくれ。
Hope it's Jinshi. It's Jinshi! Oh my god, this is so perfect. It's so romantic and unlikely, but very romantic. I've come to rescue you. This is different. Okay, this is a turning point. It's gotta be a turning point. Did you bring me an Oxford's hour?
蛇の血ですので。
I ate a snake. I'll tell you later.
なんだかこの感じ、懐かしいな。
Feels like home.
今は東宮ではない玉葉妃が巫女をご出産された
東宮。
So successful.
それがジンシ様の正体か。
You knew damn right.
それにしても汚ねえ格好だな。血だらけだぞ。
蛇の返り血です。
怪我とかやめてくれよ。
He's like, whatever. Which is maybe the correct way to handle Mao Mao.
誰か寝ているのか。
子供です。
They're
で
sleeping
も
beauty.
息はしていません。毒を煽ったようです。
We gotta help them.
そうか。生き残っても一族はまとめて刑に処される。
That's terrible. The Emperor would do that?
まるで眠ってるみたいだな。
Thankfully, I think they are.
手を貸してくれ。
Totally different interpretation of Shisui.
ここに放置するわけにも
Kugai Haku.
一緒に弔うことはできねえけど、こそっと
Do you
墓地の
understand
近く
what
に埋めるくらい
is
なら
happening? Or I think he understands, right?
その笛
Is it the
は
dog?
無事命令を完遂した合図だ。
Maybe the dog will come. Happy accident. I guess in a weird way, Shuirei helped save the kids, right? This is her method.
私は止水から託されたことを全うする。
Save the innocents. Wow. It's a wild episode. A wild two-parter. Now that I see the aftermath with the kids, the sympathy is coming a little bit easier for Shisui. It's seeming increasingly likely that she just saved all these kids. The opposite of what it looked like initially. I also love how palpable it is, despite being subtle. You know, this silent rage that's building inside of her. On the surface, she's this doll-like, obedient, lovely daughter who just is sick of it, sick to her core. But there was an outlet. You know, she had a weird, maybe to her unexpected opportunity to spend some time in the palace away from her mother as Shisui. Mamo probably a key part of that. So there's this very cool, interesting thing to think about that was encapsulated by a moment in the last episode where Mamo tries to choose what name to call her, of like, who is she really? And contrast that with who does she identify as. Shisui, in some ways, a mask or the alter ego, but in many ways, the real her. That's her carefree with her guard down. So in that sense, yeah, Mamo was being misled or deceived, but there was a lot of that was real. That was the real her. Though there's probably a bitter sweetness there for Loulan herself because she can't escape, you know, like she has to play the Loulan role to the end, and this is what it is. And I guess in the end, Loulan is the real her. The split is gone. Those two entities kind of merge. She becomes more authentic. She does what she has to do. It's all there in the end. You know, she has the looks of Loulan, the voice of Shisui, the caringness of Shisui, but the responsibility and role of Loulan. And she strikes a critical blow against the villain of the story, the oppressor of the story, her mother. And also, in a sense, her father, who sort of has sins by negligence and weakness, not being able to summon the strength to overcome his inner demons, his demons with his wife who is a demon. This is also a really minor thing. I also love these moments where it's so clear that everything has changed and now the person's role has no meaning, and it suddenly feels almost comical that they're standing on their role. Like the moment where Loulan busts in and to Shenmei, nothing has changed, right? She's being her usual mean, combative, power-hungry self, and it just feels so like, you're done. This is it for you. Mamo brought this up very directly. A lot of this does seem like a mirror or parallel for her character. I think maybe also more than that too. I think there's a question here of how far will Mamo take it? This feels like it will be more significant later if Mamo ever has to make a big choice like this. If Mamo ever comes into a situation where the crux of the story are on her shoulders the way this one was on Shisui. Easy to imagine this being a very strong influence in that direction for her later. She watched it, you know, she watched it play out in front of her. This was a tale of herself in a sense. I'm sure that gets in, right? That's just the Mamo Shisui side. This was a phenomenal episode for Lakan. We've been told that he's amazing and he's a genius and he's so smart, but the main thing we've seen of him in the tactical department is him losing a challenge to Mao, which like I'm still not clear on because later on in the series there is a shot of him like chugging alcohol and he seems to be doing just fine with it, so that seems to suggest maybe he took a dive there, but then he seemed blindsided by the whole Mamo's mother thing. But anyway, here going into this I'm like, oh, this is at least going to be a war or battle that takes place for the remainder of this season, maybe possibly into next season, right? Like the grand war that started by this incident. I'm like, man, we're going into sort of like an endgame thing here in a sense, and then Lakan just arrived and handled it in like a minute and in a way that actually felt compelling. It strikes me as a good idea. Like that might work, you know, you cause an avalanche, so yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with him either. And then Jinshi, in my mind at least, just trying to imagine this being real. For me now, there is Jinshi before this incident and Jinshi after this incident. All the speculating about like, you know, he's a little bit immature, he's got a lot of growth to do. What does all that matter in the face of the fact that he rode out into battle, ran out into battle at the head of the army? There's a lot of deliberation, you know, sneak attack, not sneak attack. I don't care. What I saw was he went into battle as the commander, as the head of the army. While doing that, he had the wherewithal to win and then make special consideration to be merciful towards the enemy. I have no doubt at this point that Jinshi is the next emperor, Mamo is the next empress. It's just inevitable. This is just, it's a resume. This is why I should be the emperor, the montage.